Today, we're digging into one of the biggest questions facing us online. Is there a real alternative to the huge social media platforms we use every day? We're going to put Mastodon head-to-head with the mainstream in what is really a showdown for our digital freedom.
I mean, this question really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? That strange feeling that the whole experience isn't actually for you, but for someone else.
And that's because right now, most of us are scrolling through feeds that are carefully engineered to keep us hooked, not necessarily to keep us informed or connected. They're built for advertiser profit. But, there's a quiet revolution brewing, so let's really explore what this different path for our online world looks like. Okay, so let's dive in. Before we can really understand Mastodon, we have to get our heads around a much bigger and honestly a much more exciting idea, the Fediverse. The name itself is just a mashup of federated and universe. And the key thing to get is that this is not one single website. It's not one company. Think of it more like a huge network of interconnected communities. Each one has its own rules, its own vibe, but they can all talk to each other. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds kind of complicated, right? How could thousands of different websites all connect with each other so easily? Well, the most amazing part is you already use a system that works exactly like this every single day. And that system is email. I mean, think about it. There is no single company called email. Someone with a Gmail account can send a message to an Outlook user who can send one to a private company email, and it just works. That's because they all speak a common language. The Fediverse is the exact same concept, but for social media. It's a protocol, not a platform. So when you join Mastodon, you aren't just signing up to one big site. Your first move is to pick something called an instance. So, if the Fediverse is the entire universe, you can think of your instance as your home planet. It's your local neighborhood, your community, with its own unique focus. And this is where it gets really cool, the choice. You can find an instance for pretty much any passion you can imagine. There are hubs for artists, for scientists, for book lovers. They even have their own hashtag Bookstodon. There are groups for tech enthusiasts, or even ones based on your city or the language you speak. You get to pick your community from day one. All right, time for the main event. Because when you actually put Mastodon up against the big players like Meta or X, you start to see that this isn't just about features. This is a deep, fundamental clash of philosophies about what social media should even be. And it all boils down to one simple question. Who's in control? First round, who's in charge? Well, the mainstream platforms are owned by massive public companies. Their number one job is to make money for shareholders. On the other side, in the Fediverse, control is spread out. Your instance might be run by a single person as a hobby or by a nonprofit, usually funded by donations. It's a system built for its users, not just for its advertisers. So what about your feed? We all know the algorithm, right? It's this mysterious black box that's trying to guess what will make you angry or happy or just engaged enough to keep you scrolling. Mastodon's approach is, well, it's refreshingly simple. It's chronological. You see posts from the people you follow in the order they post them. That's it. You are in control. And this all comes down to how these places make money. The mainstream model is pretty clear. It's surveillance advertising. Your data, your attention, that's the product being sold. Mastodon's model couldn't be more different. It's a system that's supported by its own community, usually through donations. It's completely ad-free. And naturally, that business model has a huge effect on your privacy. For mainstream platforms, collecting your data isn't just a side effect, it's the entire point. But since Mastodon has no advertisers to keep happy, that whole incentive to track you and sell your data, it just vanishes. It is privacy by design. Okay, and here's a crucial one for safety: moderation. The big platforms use this top-down industrial scale approach that, as we've seen, can be really slow and super inconsistent. On Mastodon, the moderation is handled by each individual community. This means it's usually faster, way more transparent, and it's done by people who actually get the context of their own little corner of the internet. So when you put all these technical differences together, what you get is a completely different user experience. It's about more than just the code. What does it actually feel like to be there? Well, the answer really comes down to community and culture. This quote just nails the spirit of it. Because Mastodon is open source, it's literally built by a worldwide community of volunteers. This is not some product that's handed down to us from a boardroom. It's a living, breathing project that's shaped by the people who use it every single day. And that creates a pretty profound cultural shift. The conversations tend to feel less performative because you're not just trying to please some algorithm. Influence is something you earn by being interesting and contributing, not just by racking up a huge follower count. And there's this real culture of courtesy, with things like built-in content warnings that let people give you a heads up on sensitive stuff. Okay, this is the big one, right? The question that I think holds a lot of people back. It all sounds great in theory, but is it just too complicated for the average person to get into? Well, the honest answer is, it's not hard, it's just a little bit different at first. But here's the secret. Don't overthink that first step of picking a server. Seriously. Just hop on a big, general one to get your feet wet. And the most important thing to know is that your choice isn't forever. You can actually move your entire account to a different instance later on without losing your followers. So just jump in and take a minute to learn the local customs as you go. So what this all adds up to is a real fork in the road for the future of the internet. The choice between these two models. It isn't just about what app you want to use. It's about deciding what kind of internet we actually want to live in. So let's do a final side-by-side recap. On one side, you got corporate control, surveillance ads, and an algorithmic feed designed to keep you scrolling. On the other side, you have community governance, a donation-based model, and a simple chronological feed that you control. It's the difference between data collection being the entire point and privacy being built in from the start, between slow top-down moderation and a fast community-led approach. When you see it laid out like this, the differences are, well, they're crystal clear. And this is really why it matters. This is not a passive decision. Where you choose to spend your time and your attention online is like casting a vote. When you participate on these decentralized platforms, you're actively helping to build a more open, a more fair, and a more user-focused web. So the final thought I want to leave you with is this. The internet does not have to be just a few giant walled gardens all competing for our data. We actually have the tools to build something more diverse, more interesting, and frankly, more humane. So the only real question left is, what kind of world do you want to help build?